It is the best 3 weeks in American sports. 68 teams. 1 bracket. 0 guarantees. Billions of dollars in bracket contest money. Offices across the country going completely silent on Thursday afternoon as people pretend to be in meetings while watching a 15 seed try to shock the world. March Madness is back. The 2026 NCAA Tournament bracket just dropped last night on Selection Sunday, and it is already one of the most talked about brackets in years. Not because it is boring. Because it is the opposite of boring. Duke is the number 1 overall seed, and they got handed the most brutal regional bracket in recent tournament history. The defending champion Florida Gators are lurking in the South. Michigan enters as the slight betting favorite over everyone. A kid from BYU who is going to be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft is about to light up a bracket near you. And quietly, in the Midwest region, a 12 seed from Akron is being called the most dangerous upset on the entire board by analysts who have been studying this bracket all night. This is your full 2026 March Madness breakdown. Every region. Every team that can actually win this thing. Every upset you need to know before you fill out your bracket. Let us get into it. Let us start with the overall landscape because the 4 number 1 seeds tell you everything about where the power is concentrated this year. Duke is the number 1 overall seed out of the East region after winning the ACC tournament. They are led by Cameron Boozer, the freshman forward who is the son of former NBA All-Star Carlos Boozer. Cameron is not just trading on his father's name. He is a genuine first-round talent in his own right, a versatile power forward who can score inside and facilitate from the high post. Duke finished the season as the most complete team in the ACC, and the committee rewarded them with the top line. Arizona is the number 1 seed in the West after winning the Big 12 tournament. They bring Koa Pete, one of the most efficient big men in college basketball this season, and a defense that has been suffocating opponents since January. Michigan is the number 1 seed in the Midwest and enters the tournament as the slight betting favorite at plus 325 according to BetMGM. The Wolverines have the most balanced roster of the 4-1 seeds, with no single dominant star but 5 players who can each take over a game on any given night. Florida is the number 1 seed in the South and enters as the defending national champion at plus 600. Todd Golden's Gators return multiple key pieces from last year's title team and have one of the most experienced backcourts in the entire field. For legitimate champions, any one of them could win this thing. And that is before we talk about who is waiting to knock them off. Now let us talk about Duke specifically because the East region is the story of this entire bracket, and it starts and ends with how difficult the road they were given actually is. Duke's path to the Final Four in Washington, D.C. runs directly through 3 programs that are themselves legitimate national championship contenders. UConn is in their region. The Huskies won the national championship just 2 years ago and have the defensive infrastructure and veteran experience to beat anyone in a 7-game series format. Michigan State is in their region. Tom Izzo's program has reached more Final Fours than any coach in the modern era, and they are playing their best basketball of the season heading into March. Kansas is also in their region. Bill Self has been to more Elite Eights than most coaches have been to tournaments, and he has a roster built specifically for this moment. KenPom ratings, which are the gold standard analytical measure of team quality in college basketball, have certified UConn and Michigan State as 2 of the 11 teams in the entire country most capable of winning the national championship. Both of them are standing between Duke and the Final Four. Before Duke even plays for a national title, they potentially have to beat the 2-time champions and one of the most tournament-tested programs in history. ESPN, CBS, Fox Sports, every major bracket analyst published their first-round projections within hours of the bracket reveal. The consensus across all of them on Duke's region was the same. This is the toughest path of the 4 number 1 seeds. Maybe the toughest regional draw for a number 1 seed in years. Duke is still favored to get through it. But the margin for error is almost 0. One bad night against UConn, one flat game against Michigan State, and the Cameron Boozer championship narrative ends before Indianapolis. Let us talk about AJ Dybantsa because this is the individual player story that is going to dominate this tournament the way Zion Williamson dominated 2019 and Caitlin Clark dominated 2023. Dybantsa plays for BYU. He is a 6'9" forward who arrived in Provo as the most highly recruited high school player in America and has done nothing in his college season to suggest the hype was wrong. He is a projected top 2 pick in the 2026 NBA draft. He can shoot from anywhere on the court, create off the dribble, and defend multiple positions. He is the kind of player who makes March Madness impossible to look away from because every time he touches the ball something interesting might happen. BYU is seated in a spot that gives Dybantsa a realistic path to the Sweet 16 and potentially beyond. Robert Wright III plays alongside him and gives BYU a secondary creator who can take pressure off Dybantsa in the moments when every defense is loading up against him. ESPN's bracket predictions specifically flagged BYU going to the Sweet 16 as one of the most compelling storylines to watch in the West region. Here is the matchup concern for BYU in the Sweet 16 if they get there. Gonzaga's Graham Ike is one of the best interior players in college basketball, and the analytical question around a potential Dybantsa versus Ike matchup is one of the most interesting individual battles the bracket could produce. Keba Keita for BYU is expected to match up with Ike. Whether he can handle that assignment while Dybantsa focuses on the perimeter is going to define how far this BYU run goes. Now here is the upset section. This is the part you need for your bracket. And the most important thing to understand before we go through the specific teams is the historical pattern that makes the 12-5 matchup the most reliably upset-friendly line in the entire tournament. The number 12 seed beats the number 5 seed in roughly 35% of first-round games historically. More than 1 in 3 times. Every single year, somewhere on the bracket, a 12 seed makes someone's bracket look very foolish very fast. And this year the analysts are pointing to one specific 12 seed as the most dangerous one on the board. Akron. The Zips out of the MAC conference. Akron is a 12 seed matched up against Texas Tech in the Midwest region. And here is why every serious bracket analyst is circling this game. Texas Tech lost JT Toppin to a torn ACL during the season. Toppin was their best player. Their most dynamic defender. The player who gave them the athleticism to compete with elite competition. He is not playing in this tournament. And Christian Anderson, another key piece for the Red Raiders, came out of the Big 12 tournament nursing a new injury concern that has not yet been fully resolved. And Akron is good. Really good. The Zips are scoring 86.9 points per game. Their effective field goal rate is 58.5%, which is elite territory. They turn the ball over on only 13.4% of possessions, one of the lowest rates in college basketball. They close out games. They won 7 straight to end the season, including the MAC tournament title. Texas Tech opened as only an 8.5-point favorite over a team that just played its best basketball of the year against a team playing with a significant injury-depleted roster. If Akron gets past Texas Tech in the first round, their second-round opponent is Alabama or Hofstra. Alabama gives up 83.5 points per game and just lost to Ole Miss in the SEC tournament. Hofstra is dangerous in its own right. The path to the Sweet 16 for a 12 seed from Akron is genuinely more open than it looks on paper. The analysts at DraftKings Network called it the best upset path on the entire board. Not one of the best. The best. Write down Akron. VCU is the other upset that every serious bracket analyst is discussing. The Rams won the Atlantic 10 tournament and earned an 11 seed in the South region, matched up against North Carolina. Social media reaction to North Carolina's seeding turned immediately into anti-Tar Heel forecasting the moment the bracket was revealed, which is its own signal about how the basketball world sees that matchup. VCU's defense is the reason they are dangerous. They pressure the ball in ways that disrupt the rhythm of offenses that have not seen that style of defense all season. North Carolina plays at a pace that VCU will try to slow down. If the Rams can make the game ugly and keep it close into the second half, their offense has enough to steal it. Beyond that first-round game, the South gets complicated fast. Florida and Houston are the two heavyweights, and a Sweet 16 matchup between Illinois and Houston is being called one of the best games the bracket could produce by the Fox Sports Analysis team. Houston's electric perimeter trio of Kingston Flemings, Emmanuel Sharp and Milos Uzan against Illinois is the matchup to have eyes on if you make it to the second weekend in the South. Here is the deeper story inside the Cameron Boozer narrative that most of the coverage has not fully explored. And it is worth 2 minutes of this video because it is the human story hiding inside the biggest basketball storyline of the tournament. Cameron Boozer's father, Carlos Boozer, played 13 seasons in the NBA. He was a two-time All-Star. He won a gold medal with Team USA at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He had a full, decorated, celebrated professional career. And he never won an NBA championship. Cameron Boozer is playing for Duke in Indianapolis at the Final Four venue, a city where Duke has won 3 of their 5 national championships. His father's career is complete, finished without a ring. And his son is now the face of the program most capable of winning the 2026 NCAA title, playing in a city where Duke has historically made Final Four history happen. That is not nothing. That is a story about what fathers give their sons and what sons do with it. About the specific weight of legacy in the specific context of March basketball. About whether Cameron Boozer can take Duke somewhere his father's career never reached. The bracket gave him the hardest possible path to find out. Let us give you the quick Final Four predictions because this is what the bracket analysts are actually projecting and what you need to fill out your bracket before Thursday. In the East, it is Duke. Despite the brutal path, the talent at the top of their roster is the best in the region and tournament experience can be built in a single run. Cameron Boozer against the best defenders this bracket can throw at him is still the most compelling individual matchup in the East. In the West, it is Arizona or Michigan. Arizona has the home region advantage in terms of seeding, and co-opete gives them an interior advantage against most opponents. But Purdue is in this region, and Braden Smith, who is 1 assist behind Bobby Hurley's all-time NCAA tournament assists record, is the kind of point guard who makes everyone around him better when the games matter most. In the Midwest, it is Michigan. The betting market agrees with the eye test. The most balanced roster, the most complete team, the region that opens up the most toward the Final Four if they can handle their first 2 games cleanly. In the South, it is Florida. The defending champion. Todd Golden's group has been there before. They know how to win the games that matter. And experienced teams who know what a national championship run feels like do not forget that feeling in one offseason. Duke versus Michigan in the national championship game. Indianapolis. April 6, 2026. It is going to be extraordinary. Unless a 12 seed from Akron has something to say about it first. The first 4 tips off Tuesday. The first round starts Thursday. Offices across America go quiet. Brackets across America start getting destroyed by Wednesday afternoon. Someone who has never watched a game is going to win their office pool because they picked every team by mascot color or conference nickname or which city they would most like to visit. And somewhere in the Midwest region, a team from Akron that scores 86.9 points per game and turns the ball over on only 13. 4% of possessions is going to walk into a game against an injured Texas Tech team, and the analysts who have been saying their name all week are going to look very smart or look very wrong by Thursday night. That is March Madness. That is why it is the best 3 weeks in American sports. The bracket is the promise. The games are the truth. And the truth starts Thursday.